Welcome everybody to the Introduction to Google Enterprise video. So my name is Dustin Dawson. I am the Instructional Technology Specialist at Lane ESD, and with me today is...
I'm Cassidy Ross, and I also work at Lane ESD. I'm part of the school improvement team. I do lots of things there. I don't have a fancy title like you do, Dustin, at least not currently.
Well, I mean, my title changes every year, so I don't know what it'll be next year. We'll just have to see. So basically, some of your districts have decided to purchase the Enterprise Edition, which gives you access to some of the features that are not available in Google. And this is just a little video to show you what some of those features are.
Okay.
All right, so here's our little Jamboard that I created, and I made these little Post-its with it so I could hide them, and I didn't hide that first one. That was a big faux pas. But we'll start off over here on the left and move our way right. Let's talk about host controls first. One of the things I know that's been really important for a lot of people is being able to control chat and share screen from students. I don't believe you had this beforehand, but let me just show you real quick how that works. If you go into your little chat participant feed, that little button there where it lets you get to the chat or to participants, you'll notice there's another little geometry thing over here. We'll get to that one in a minute. But if you're in the chat one, there's an immediate button right there that allows you to disable chat. So Cassidy, I assume you can't send any kind of chat message right now. Is that right?
Chat isn't available at this time. You've disabled my chat.
But now I can turn it on, and then Cassidy can send us all a little chat. So that's a quick and easy way to enable and disable chat pretty quickly. And then within the People's tab over here, there's also host controls. And so if you click on host controls, you also have the ability to mess with the chat messages feature here. I can turn it on and off here, or I can also mess with their share screen ability. So if I unclick this, now students can't share screen.
Oh, that's so easy. I love those host controls.
Yeah, it's nice how readily accessible it is. It's a little bit more buried in Zoom, so this is kind of nice.
Definitely.
All right.
Cool. I wonder if anyone is wondering why there are so many versions of us listed in this meeting right now.
That's a good question. Yeah, when we get to breakout rooms, we're going to need to actually have some people to break out with. And so there's versions of us here. So yeah, I have 3 devices on my desk. I don't know about you, Cassidy.
I could only manage 2, and that's freaking me out enough as it is. But if you all have ever watched any of our distance learning playbook unpacked episodes, you know, I'm a big fan of like the one-person Zoom or Google meeting so that you can practice these things. So that's what we're doing. We're practicing with multiple versions of ourselves present.
Yeah, so you can practice this by yourself. If you have like 4 devices, then you can just load it up. I've got my phone, my iPad, my laptop, and my Chromebook. So all of them are gone right now. So I actually have 4 devices. All right, so that is the basics of host controls. You'll also notice there's another one here that says view all host controls. And that is for entry controls. So,
okay.
Yeah, if you go to this view all host controls, now I'll be honest with you, technically speaking, when this is turned off, the quick access is turned off, then only people that you have invited to the meeting will be able to come in without having to get permission. However, when Cassidy and I started our meeting today, I had invited her, but I still had to give her permission to enter. So I don't know what's going on there, but something. So maybe there's a bug in that. Maybe it's going to get fixed by the time that you get to play with this, but just be aware, technically you should be able to do that.
And it's a little bit, I just had to ask permission and then you had to let me in. But
yeah, true. It isn't that big a deal, but if you have 30 students, right, you're just constantly letting people in. It'd be kind of nice. The other thing that's kind of weird is it seems like you would want to turn this on for control, but really what you're doing is you're turning off quick access is what you're actually doing. So you're making it harder to get in.
Okay.
So it seems like a double negative almost in there. So just be aware.
But I might be in a district where I'm supposed to be having each student enter on their own anyway. So
Right, right, and double checking that they're actually students in your
I mean,
class,
that's
right?
what I
That's
meant.
the
Yeah,
big,
not,
yeah, the
yeah,
big security
yeah.
thing.
You get what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so theoretically, if you actually sent this invite code to students in your district, they should all be in your class, and so therefore it should be easy for this computer system to be able to detect who should be coming in, who shouldn't be coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So kind of should do some of that automatically for you. All right, so let's talk about breakout rooms because I know that's super important to a lot of people. So students can still see the breakout room. So let's just look at it really quickly first. So you go to the geometry tab over here. It's got the circle, square, and triangle. And the very top one is breakout rooms. So you click on that. Pretty straightforward interface. I kind of like this. You can select how many rooms you have over here. So because there's only 5 of us, then I'm gonna do 2 rooms. It automatically puts you into randomized breakout rooms. But if I want to, I can manually just drag and drop and move people. Something that Zoom does not have, and I wish it did. It's super easy to move people around. You can also, for your own notes, just kind of say like, oh, this is gonna be the whatever, group 1. You can rename these. So that's kind of cool too. Whatever terminology you wanted to use, the red group and the blue group, if that's important to you. You can quickly shuffle, so it'll rearrange, just kind of like, oh, I don't like that mixture, throw it again, and it'll do that. Or you can clear all the rooms too and empty everybody out.
Cool.
Yeah, so if we just shuffle everybody in and then I open the rooms. Now, one of the things I have found, which I wish it did, but it doesn't, is that you have to, when you open your rooms, like I'm just opening it right now, it asks every student if they want to join that room. And they have to click on the join button. So I'm going through and joining on all my devices now. And join.
Okay, one version of me joined.
One version of you joined, good. And yeah, so now everybody's in the breakout room, and that's great and all, but again, the students have to actively click on something to go, or else they're going to stay behind.
Okay.
Which,
Well, I mean, so if I have my camera off and I've gone to fix a snack, I suppose you're going to know as the teacher.
Exactly. That's true.
Okay.
And it is possible, I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
So the thing I'm noticing now that one version of me is in the breakout room, it's really easy to return to the main call. I like that. Like it's easier than Zoom for me to see how to get back to the main call. Can you as the host send me a message in the breakout room, or can you as the host come and visit me? Oh, you can't.
I can. Okay. So I can't send any messages, but I can come visit. So why don't you go ahead and go to group 1, and then I'll show everybody how to join.
Okay.
Okay, so now Cassidy, I can tell that Cassidy's in that room. So now I click this join.
Okay, so when I went to the breakout room, you couldn't see us anymore. So I wanted to just quickly show you that breakout room stuff again. Unfortunately, Cassidy's not with me on this, but I'll show it to you anyways. So you're going to, again, click on these activities tabs, the triangle, square, circle one, click on breakout rooms. I've only got 3 people in this particular one, but I just want you to see how you can navigate through them. So here are the 2 other versions of me. I'm going to open rooms. Okay, so you can see who has joined the rooms and who hasn't. You can see these little circles are basically saying this person hasn't accepted the request yet. As soon as they do, then they become solid and you know they're in there now. So that's how you know if students have actually joined the rooms or not. And then you have the ability to join anything that you want. So let's go ahead and jump into one of these rooms. All right, so here we are. And one of the things that's kind of nice is right from here, I can either leave and go back to the main room, or I can join, I can jump right into the next breakout room and keep going. And so I can just check in. Hey, are there any questions? No. All right. Or yes. And then I'll move on to the next room. So it's really quick and easy to navigate through it. That's it. All right. So that's how you manage breakout rooms when you're in breakout rooms. And again, if I leave, let me just show this real quick. If I leave, now I'm just out and I can see what's going on and all those. No way to send any kind of message though. That's a kind of a bummer.
Okay,
right,
so
cool.
that's the basics of breakout room. And I think we talked about a lot of stuff. So students can see the breakout room tab, but they just can't do anything with it.
So I don't need to worry as a teacher. Like my students see that that's a possibility, but they can't make breakout rooms. I gotcha.
Correct.
Okay, now you're
Now,
presenting.
Cassidy, when you look at your breakout room tab, can you tell what group you're going to be in? Can you see the groups that are?
Let's see. So I have to click on activities.
That's the little geometry tab.
Nope.
So it just kind of has that as availability, but doesn't show you anything. Okay, great.
Yep.
So that's that. And then the other thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned was that the random create, drag and drop, and no forcing. So that no forcing thing is kind of a bummer. I wish it would able to push a student into a room. Because you could kind of use that as a behavior management strategy if that was the case, right? You could say like somebody's being really obnoxious in class, you could push them out into their own breakout room as kind of like you're sending them out into the hallway.
Oh, and then you could visit them to talk. Okay.
Exactly. Then I could enter that breakout room and say, hey, what's going on? Why are we doing this? What can I do to help you? All that good stuff. But it doesn't work that way. Now, I guess you can still ask them to go to the breakout room and just say, I need you to go to the breakout room. I'll be there in a minute.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and if they keep it up, I guess you can kick them out, because that is also an option to do.
But I can't. I cannot pre-assign breakout rooms to my classes prior to the meeting. Okay. So good thing it's pretty easy to do in the moment, because you can't do it ahead of time. Okay.
Yeah. That drag and drop feature is pretty nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I like that.
Okay. Let's talk about polling. Let's look at the polling thing here. All right. So polling. Again, in your activities tab or in the geometry tab is breakout rooms and then polls. And I had one over here already. Let's create a new poll.
Okay.
And what should I ask you today for this one?
How excited am I about Google Enterprise? You know, I'm just thinking, if I'm a teacher and I've been using Google Meet for this long and not had the ability to use breakout rooms, like I would be so excited about the breakout rooms, because I know that for my own kids who are doing distance learning at home, the breakout rooms are their favorite part of the class. So I think that I just answered my own poll. I'm going to be pretty excited.
All right. So I've done it. I've saved it. Now let's launch it.
Okay. And so what I see on my side is just a little green dot, and only if I have the activities open. So if I'm a teacher and I'm using polls, I have to tell students there is a poll. It's now live, because it isn't obvious, like it doesn't pop up.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to have to tell your students to go up to the little triangle, circle, square, and then click on polls, and then they'll see it. Oh, we have 101. And then I can show everybody the results. They'll see them, they'll still stay in there. But then if I'm like, you know what, I don't want to show this poll anymore, I can delete it, and then everyone doesn't see it anymore. However, I will, because my poll results will come back up for me here in a spreadsheet, and it'll show me the name of the person who reported and what their answer was to that poll question. Nice. So you can get this information later on after the meeting. Even if you delete it.
The example that you showed was clearly from another time when we were practicing Google Enterprise, because I am no longer meh, I am now super excited.
Good to know. Formative assessment in action right there. A couple of downsides. One thing is that you cannot create your polls ahead of time.
Okay.
So that's kind of stinky. And the other one is, so far, if you're using the app in the Google Meet app on your iPad or your iPhone, doesn't work either. You can't do polls, you can't do any of that stuff. So what's a major issue? I'm sure they're going to fix it in the future. Not yet.
Okay.
So something to be aware of.
Okay.
So if you have your students who are logging in on their phone.
That seems to be true of a lot of things right now. I'm hearing a lot of times where people are like, don't use the app. So
yeah.
It's just, we're just not living in a time where you can rely on these apps, I guess.
I guess not, but it's strange because the app should be pretty easy to update. Anyways, I'll let the computer science folks figure that one out.
Yeah, well, the English teacher in me wants to appreciate the irony, but let's keep going. What else is new?
All right, well, let's double check here. Can I make it visible or not? No. And does it work in the iOS apps? Nope, not. question for you, Cassidy. How
Yeah.
much is that noise? Can you hear the little chainsaw going outside?
Nope.
Oh, great. Okay, good. So one of
Nope.
the features that Google has put in here that we're going to get to later, but might go ahead and do it. We've got somebody coming over and trimming a tree that's literally outside the window right here. And
Of
they didn't
course.
think they were going to make it today, but of course they did when we were recording this. But the noise cancellation is working pretty well. So
Oh.
it's loud. Like it's loud for
Oh,
me.
wow. Yeah. No,
You know,
great
I'm
hearing
using
that.
my AirPods, so that is a little bit, it's, you know, decent at canceling out some background noise, but it's good to know that they are also able to, that Google's noise cancellation is working pretty well.
And
But
do you
let's
turn
talk,
that
sorry,
on, or does it
it's just on.
automatically? Oh, nice. Great. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's anything you can do here. We're going to get to some of these others. So no, I
Okay.
think it's just a part of what they've got going on.
Cool.
But let's talk about Q&A, because I think that's
Okay.
kind of a cool thing. So the Q&A feature is so oftentimes teachers will say something like, hey, if you have a question, put it in the chat or whatever. And that's fine, but this is a specific Q&A, question and answer dialogue in there so that it doesn't get lost with any of the other chat. It also allows you to give students the opportunity to put a question in when you still have your chat turned off. Right? So
Oh,
if
I
you don't
like
have
that.
random stuff going on, you can turn this allow questions part on. And then I think Cassidy's going to put in a question for us, maybe. Oh, can I go to the bathroom? Oh, geez, Cassidy, really? Do you have to ask that every time?
I
Haven't
don't
we
know.
talked
That's the
about this?
question I always hear. I always hear people asking when my kids are in their Zooms. I always hear somebody's asking, can I go to the bathroom? So,
Okay, well, then I'll give you the classic teacher response. I don't know. Can you? I'm not a doctor. I can't help you with that. If it's a problem, I would go see a doctor. Anyway, so if you have a student who puts an inappropriate question in, like, why are you so stupid or something like that, this little mark as hidden button, I can mark that, and now nobody in class can see it.
oh, so if I asked a question just to be disruptive, you're
Yep.
going to hide it. And then on my end, it is very clear that what I should do next is delete it because a big trash can just came up.
That's
So
right. So then,
I'm going to
yeah, it
delete it.
prompts Cassie to delete this question because it's
Oh,
seen as inappropriate for some reason or another.
and I'm trying to delete it so that you will forget about this, but it's giving me a notice that the moderator will still be able to see it after the call. So I'm probably not going to be using the Q&A to disrupt your class anymore.
Not anymore, probably, because I'll have evidence. Yeah, exactly. So what you get at the end of the meeting is you get a spreadsheet again, what the question was. You'll get this for all the questions, but it'll show you that the submitter, the person who put it, they wanted to delete it. And then also gives you a timestamp on there. So who asked the question and when did they ask it? So that way you have this data later on if you should need it.
Well, and that's really cool for those times where students keep asking questions and I don't have a chance to answer all of the questions, because then I can see afterwards in that log what questions I wasn't able to answer to make sure that I answer them the next time we meet.
That's right. That's right. That's good. Okay, well, do you want to ask another question? But I like yours better. And so what students can do is they can upvote questions. So you're going through your lecture
Oh.
and you know what, so that's a good question, but then let's just say we have a couple of students who upvote that one. So now as a teacher, I can see, oh, there's several people who want me to explain the theory of relativity again. So,
I love that. That's great. So then we don't have multiple versions of the same question coming through. Oh, I love that. That's a great feature.
Yeah. And then once I've answered it, I can go ahead and click the checked box.
Okay.
And since that was basically the same question twice, people just did it at the same time, but this one was a better version of it, then now people can see that it's been checked so they know it's been answered. And then I can either hide it so it's out of the feed for the students, or I can just delete it.
Okay.
And I'll still be able to, I'm getting a report that's saying you're going to still be able to see this after the call.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that way,
So
again, you know what questions are asked. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's no way for students to raise their hands.
No.
In Google Enterprise, right? Okay, so
There's
the
not.
only way that I can let you know that I have a question is by putting it into the Q&A.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
But cool feature, very powerful, not
Love it.
something that Zoom has. So that's really neat. I like that a lot.
Love it.
Okay, so let's go back and just double check my Jamboard here.
Okay.
Q&A feature, teacher can hide a question. We talked about that. We can do mark as answered. We talked about that, and other students can upvote. So yeah, those are all pieces. So cool. That's Q&A feature. So we're almost done here. I just want to show you or talk to you about a couple other bonus features. One is the noise cancellation. We talked about that one.
I heard that one.
Yeah, that's a cool feature because if you have somebody doing chainsaw work outside of your window, then it won't disrupt the class. I like that. The blur background, I believe this one has already been a part of it for a little while. I think this came out a month ago or so. But if you do the 3 little dots over here in the bottom right corner, then you have change your background, and one of the options is to blur your background. So now the background is not as evident. And then there's also like a slightly blurred. I don't know why you'd want a slightly blur versus like fully blur, but if your students are just a little bit, they don't like their background and they don't want that happening. But you can also do all these other kinds of backgrounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Where am I? Oh, I'm in Japan with the cherry blossoms, or in an art room. So lots of options. Oh, that makes me look sophisticated.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
Now,
so
if
background.
I'm a student, can I just, as easily as you did that, can I go in there and can I change all of my backgrounds?
You can just mess with your backgrounds all you want. And there is, as of right now, no option to turn that off for students.
Okay.
So,
okay.
You know.
So when students are encountering, did they have that feature in the regular Google Meet?
They had the blur background one, but I don't think they had this ability to change the background. So what I don't know is if students will still have this ability or not.
Right.
I assume they probably will.
Okay. Okay. So just something to anticipate the first time they have access to
Right.
It's pretty fun. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that's blurred backgrounds. Captioning. That one's kind of cool. So if they don't have headphones, for example, and they don't want, like, it's whatever, it's at a time of day when their parents are sleeping or something, if they've got a swing shift folks, they can turn on captions over here. Captions have been turned on, so therefore it should start to turn on. Yeah, there you go. So it's starting, it's hidden behind the little white banner. You have to make sure you bring this up and then let it do its thing. But now it is doing captions. Can you see it on your end, my captions?
I can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can see both of them. And I noticed when I was using this before, it takes a minute. Like it takes a minute to start. So I turned it on and I was like, oh, it's not working. But it took a minute. And then I had to actually say something.
Right. What's it going to do?
Yeah. It's like, nothing's happening. Oh, I'm not saying it.
And it's pretty impressive. I mean, it's pretty accurate. They certainly make mistakes, but it's relatively accurate. So that's cool.
I like that.
And then the last one are attendance reports. And so I actually don't have an example of an attendance report, but you can imagine it's going to look something just like this. It'll have all the students' name, when they got on, when they got off. I'm certain about it. Yeah. But for some reason, they're only doing attendance reports for meetings that are 5 students or 5 participants or greater. So you have to have, so I should get an attendance report for this one, but so you need to have a larger group in order for that to show up. So I couldn't show you what it looked like. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that is, that's Google Enterprise. Those are all the things that we found. So what do you think, Cassidy, after hearing all that stuff?
I mean, Dustin, I'm sort of a reluctant technology user. And I actually think that this is more user-friendly than Zoom. Even though I've been living in Zoom for, 7-8 months now, and it's familiar, I actually think I like this better.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's much more usable. I do think that Zoom has more features right now, but this is more user-friendly. So maybe as they build it, they're going to keep adding those extra features. And the enterprise folks will always get the newest features first. Unfortunately, it means you're going to be testing as well. I mean, there might be more bugs and errors in it, but Google's got a big team to fix things. So hopefully it's going to work out well. So the 3 little dots over here, you click on that. And at the very top of mine says whiteboard, open a jam. And so you can just click on that. I can either start a new one or I can choose it from my drive. Here are the most recent ones that I've created. And when I do that, it will also put into the chat a link.
Yep, I see it.
So here's a new link for the chat. So that means all the students then can get into it. I believe if you would check it, does that Jamboard allow you write access or just view access, Cassidy?
I need access. So I have to request access from you.
Oh, gotcha. You have to request
But that's
access.
also because I'm not in a Southland account. I'm in a Lane ESD account.
That could be. That could be. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Cool.
Well, so yeah, so that's there. You know, there's some options there for using Jamboard and getting all that going. But there's some cool stuff going on here. I know there'll be more things that are added over the year, and so we'll try to keep you updated as to what the new features are. But that's a pretty in-depth rundown of all the things that are in there right now.
Yep. I give it 2 thumbs up. I'm a fan.
All right, cool. Good thing. All right, so Cassidy and I are here to help in any way you need it, and yeah, we'll get you rolling and get you going on the new Google Enterprise stuff. So give us a holler and let us know how we can help.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
See ya.